DJ, don't get hurt. Don't do anything that's possibly going to put you in any kind of physical danger before August camp. Talking Clemson football here at the Voice of College Football. Please join in the live chat. Jump on in here and you bring your comments, your questions for Brian Knight. You can catch him on YouTube right here, a.k.a. Bobby Durkins. Hey, Brian. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Mark?
I'm good. I appreciate you stopping by for these conversations. This is always a good time with you. Love to hear your take on all of it.
I think that you're one of a few who actually enjoys my take on it. Everybody else, maybe their stomach rumbles a little bit, but I tell you, it's crazy. Just left the spring game a couple of weeks ago. I was supposed to come on your show last week, and I couldn't work it out, but I appreciate you having me on your show.
Absolutely. So you were at the spring game. Was Pigskin Pete there as well?
Pigskin was there. Tiger Nation was there. Prince 6'1" was there. I got to say hello to them, but I was sitting up on the upper deck. I had to have a mountain goat lead me to my seats. They were sitting down there. You know, if Sweeney was to sweat real good, they could smell it. That's how close they were. But me, I was up there, as I said, with my mountain goat. And we were sitting so high. I took my sister, my oldest, Bobby Durkins Jr., and my nephew. And we were sitting so high, they actually gave us seats with little red lights on it so the aircraft wouldn't hit us. That's how far up we were sitting. But it was a good time. It was a good time. It was good to take the kids even though it's a glorified practice, that's really all a spring game is a glorified practice. They'll let the fans come in. Of course, the big networks and so on has made it much more than what it is, but it's still a fun time. So it was good to go there with family. It was good to see Clemson football.
I say this all the time that I get excited for these spring games because I miss college football so much, but it only takes about 3 plays before I realize, yeah, they're practicing. So was that up on the famous hill?
Oh, no. The hill was far too low from where I was sitting. Where I was sitting, it was actually about a 45% chance of snow up there. So it was on the very top. I want to make this clear to you. I was freezing where I was sitting. It was that high. No, we were in the upper deck. We were almost at the very, very top. But I was just glad to be there, get to hang out with the family and see some football. I know they had limited capacity because there's all this nonsense going on. But it was good to come in and see Clemson football, see the team. I was really interested to see how fired up the defense was. And I'm going to tell you that I think the defensive side of the ball, especially for the white team, was the most fired up that I've seen out of everybody, save maybe a few players off of the orange team. Then again, we come back to it is a glorified practice with fans allowed into Death Valley to see a glorified practice.
I led off with the quarterback condition because, of course, Fomacha, I can't remember his first name.
Tyson Fomacha.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tyson Fomacha. Injured in the game.
I don't mean this bad because I know some Clemson fans will be like, don't say that or nobody will come play at our school if they have a different name. I have no problem with it, but it is interesting that Clemson has some doozies of some last names on their team. And it's not like one or two guys. It's like several. And that's really cool and stuff. I'm glad they're there, but we've got a lot of tongue twisters on the team. But yeah, he got hurt. He tore his Achilles heel, which I jokingly told one of my buddies. I think he's on here watching. Chase Henderson, Parker Henderson. Shout out to you boys, good friends of mine. I said, well, you remember that's what killed Brad Pitt in the movie. So when he played, for any of you who don't get that reference, Brad Pitt played Achilles in the movie Achilles. And yeah, that's how he died.
Yeah, it's a stretch of the pronunciation guide, unlike anybody else, like east of Utah, I would say. You usually have to go that far out. Those Utah and Hawaii rosters are difficult to navigate. But Yeah, so I got this quarterback room sized up as DJ. Then you got the walk-on Hunter Helms. Fomacha gets hurt. You got a couple guys coming in August, but it's still going to be pretty thin and inexperienced.
Yeah. Well, we were totally spoiled during the national championship year to have you had Kelly Bryant, Trevor Lawrence, and Chase Bryce. And I know Chase's year at Duke didn't play out that well, and I was afraid that was going to happen. And that really doesn't deal with Chase. Chase was leaving 5- and 4-star receivers and guys like Hunter Renfrow, who had no stars, but came out and played better than everybody, basically when he came into high school. And then you switch to Duke. And no offense to Duke, I mean, let's just be honest with ourselves. We're talking football here. We're not talking about if they were going to sit down and take the SAT. We're talking about football. And I just said, hey, those guys who were wrapping in those passes, they're not there at Duke. And at Clemson, places like Clemson, a quarterback is going to have to make throws. That's not going to be right in the breadbasket. It's not going to be perfect, but he is making the pass to his receiver so the receiver can wrap it in. Doesn't mean that the receiver is going to grab it in stride and take off running and burn everybody. No, the goal is throw the ball to the guy catches it, whether he takes off and leaves everybody or whether he just wraps in the pass and lands on his back. And I knew that was not going to happen with Chase at Duke. So we had those times, we had those moments where we had Trevor, even Kelly, even though he really wasn't a quarterback, he was a glorified athlete, fantastic athlete in my opinion. I'll never blast Kelly for being a poor football player. He was a really good football player. He should have switched positions. But we had Chase Bryce there. And the reason we won the Syracuse game that year, that we won the national championship, was because of Chase Bryce. So we're definitely in a place we've never been before. We've always had, for the majority of probably the past 5 or 6 years, that guy sitting on the bench who could pretty much start anywhere. Not to pick at the hurt and the ailing, but Tyson Fomacha, though he's a talented football player, I wasn't impressed with him as an athlete. I've been seeing him, not as an athlete, as a quarterback. I've seen him play for the past few seasons. Nothing impressive there to me. I know that there's guys right now in the Clemson community who's pissing blood and naming stats, everything like an old woman names Bible scripture. But you're wrong. I sat and watched him. He didn't look good. I'm not saying he's horrible. I'm just saying he didn't look good. So though I hate to lose that experience, and though I trust our coaching staff, this is getting blown out of proportion a bit because his talent and his skill level, it's not like a DJ Uiagalelei, I'm still trying to get that name down, sitting behind Trevor Lawrence. It's not. So though there is questions there and we need to address them, and I know they've reached out to the transfer portal, I'm just trying to be kind here because the young man is a talented athlete, or else we wouldn't have recruited him. But it's not like we lost a DJ sitting behind Trevor.
No doubt about that, as I tweet out the link to everybody there on Twitter, so hopefully they can join on in. Our buddy George, he's a Gators fan. Don't know if you're familiar with George, but
oh yeah, I know George.
There we go. Everybody knows George. Why
Everybody
did I
knows
ask
George.
that? I think it's not necessarily right to teach children that they should desire to touch Howard's Rock. I think you should let them grow up and decide for themselves.
Oh God, I could take that so many ways right now, man. Oh, George, he's always a fan favorite. He's always a fan.
Yes,
I'm always worried about. I worry about George because I know he's probably like a CIA informant, and he probably sells fantastic leather belts at the flea market simultaneously. Now, George is good people.
Good stuff. We got Brian Knight on here, a.k.a. Bobby Durkins. Catch him on YouTube right here. Is Clemson Talk. What do you have in store for us recently there?
Are we talking about Bobby, or are we just talking about me? Anything.
You're one and the same at times. It's a difficult dynamic for me to figure out. So I'll say it that way.
You're a safe man. You should enter politics. That's pretty good of you. No, Pete always said, Pigskin Pete always says that he knows when he's talking to me, and he knows or when he's talking to Brian, or when I say something as Bobby, he knows what I actually mean. And then if it's just Bobby being stupid. No, I've really just been, I've had a lot of people reach out to me and been like, man, well, you haven't done videos that much since, the beginning of the year and everything. Just personally, and I know nobody cares, I'm working on my MBA. So I'm studying all the time. And then when I'm not studying all the time, I'm with my family and just hanging out with them and having a good time. I've got God's blessed me with a great family, and I'm thankful for it. And, one thing through YouTube and doing the whole Bobby Durkin shtick is I've met a lot of really, really good people like yourself. I've named out the Henderson, brothers, Pigskin Pete, Tiger Nation, Prince 6'1". There's a ton of you that's in here right now. And I say, Parker, you've got one of his comments up there. What's up, man? I've met a lot of good people through this, so it's always fun. But I've just had a lot going on. So I haven't really done much Bobby Durkins, but I do want you to know that Bobby is alive and well. There is a potential that Bobby might become the supervisor of the county feline control. That's a big deal for him. He'll go up from hourly wage to salary, though he doesn't know if he wants that, just in case he works overtime. Benefits are pretty good, and but he just loves shooting cats. He really, really does. He just feels like it's kind of his calling in life. He's doing well. Bobby hasn't been too happy about politics recently, but we'll leave it at that. He has thought about starting a Bobby Durkins militia just for the crap of it, and I think he'd be very good at it. But yeah, Bobby's still around and living the dream. He is living the dream. Yeah.
I just hope there's some kind of public notice that goes out before he takes office, so anybody with a feline can leave the county territory. So
yeah, well, I mean, his strategy of killing cats, and he shared it with many people. First of all, he gets all of them in a room. I mean, you just don't go around killing cats. I mean, it's not like he goes around and says, oh, there's Mrs. Harper's cat up in the tree. Let me blow its brains out. No. It has to be confiscated as a loose animal, okay? We have to have an animal controller, else God knows what will happen. They bring him into the county facility, and after they've tried to give the cats away, they have to exterminate them. What a lot of people don't understand is the way that they exterminate or pass the cat from this current life through its 9 lives to the final life can be very expensive. So Bobby went to them and told them, said, look, if you get me a sawed-off shotgun with a good spread, I can save us money, I can take care of my job, and they'll never know the difference. And so what he does, he gets them in that room with a sawed-off shotgun with a good spread, and he plays that song, meow, 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 meow. You would never know it. Cats love that song. They dance to it. He pulls the trigger. They die happy. But he just doesn't know if he wants to. He doesn't want to leave. That job that he's so good at. He enjoys shooting cats.
I was trying to imagine the colorful language that would have come along with explaining that process had Bobby been telling it instead.
Yeah. Bobby has a way. Bobby has a way. And as Bobby says, no matter how many times he shaves that wild hair, it grows right back. So Bobby is, God help him. He is, that's where he's at. But we're both looking forward to college football.
Brian is typically kind enough when I ask him on the show to ask me whether he should bring Bobby with him. And I am certainly entertained by Bobby as much as anybody else is, but I'm typically exhausted at the end of the hour. So I often say, you know what, maybe we leave Bobby home tonight.
My favorite moment was when during the football season, I didn't tell you that you asked me to come on, and I didn't tell you that I was going to bring Bobby on. And you had like 3 other people, and they were all taking it serious. And Bobby came, and he was eating Chick-fil-A the entire time, didn't break. And yeah, I could tell that raised a lot of concern for a lot of people. But I appreciate you having me back on.
Clemson, for as thin as the room is where they keep the quarterbacks, the running backs, you lose an all-time great, the all-time great. But people were certainly intrigued to see Maffa and Shipley and what they can do. And as long as they can probably pass block, that's probably going to help keep them on the field. When it comes to running and catching, you might have 2 really good ones.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And what's so sad is it's a blessing and it's a curse. You hear about Moffitt, you hear about Shipley. Shipley, I was really excited to watch him play. And I think anybody in the Clemson family was really excited to see Shipley come out and play, because when you see high school film, it can, even if they're playing against great talent, if they're a world-class player, they can still come out and do some stuff they wouldn't get away with, even against a solid college football team, not even a top 10. But I was really excited in seeing him play, and he did great. But, I mean, we got some great talent on the team at running back. I mean, Lynn J. Dixon. Lynn J. Dixon has had to sit behind the great Travis Etienne, and he's in the shadows. I would not be surprised if he can stay healthy if Lynn J. Dixon comes out and has an absolutely monstrous year, and people are sitting there going, where did he come from? Well, unless you were a Clemson fan or you followed college football that closely, you're going to miss Lynn J. Dixon. Lynn J. Dixon is the flipping man. I mean, this guy can play football. He is agile. He's quick. He's one of those guys that he's a PlayStation player, as I like to call him. You hit him, he hits the spin button. I am not going to compare him to Travis Etienne. That's unfair, and we shouldn't. He's his own player. He is fantastic. But then you got guys like Ches Maluzzi. You know, this guy, fantastic player out of Naples, Florida. Could be starting at most places in the country. He's there. We got a few other running backs. I want to say Michael Dukes and Kobe Pace. Forgive me if I messed up those names. These guys, any other time in Clemson football, would be fantastic running backs. We lost DeMarcus Bowman, and I'll rant about that in just a second, although a friend of mine just talked me off the ledge with that one. But before I came on. And then you have these guys come in, you know, Maffa. We have a lot of talent at Clemson, and we're blessed to have that talent. We're going to California and recruiting in players, and we were just happy to get one player out of North Florida. I mean, they were right at the Georgia line, but we were like, they're a Florida player. You know, that's where how Sweeney has grown the program. And Sweeney's grown the program. I mean, Sweeney's done more for Clemson football than any other coach has in history. Overall accolades, consistency. You know, we had the 80s, and I know that was a great time. I know that there's some real Clemson homers right now who's definitely trashing me right now. I don't care. I've heard it before. The stats speaks for themselves. As somebody I like to listen to says, the truth doesn't care about your feelings. The truth is that Dabo Sweeney.
I think I know that guy.
You might have heard of that cat. He's kind of doing all right himself. But Dabo Sweeney has done so much for Clemson football. We don't have to worry about scandals at Clemson. In the 80s, our very season after we won the national championship, we went undefeated. Does anybody know that? No, because we had NCAA probation hits. We don't deal with that at Clemson. It is a big deal when one of our players gets in trouble. I know the Watson thing is going on. There's some people who's really enjoying that, but it didn't happen while I was at Clemson. And I believe wholeheartedly that had anything, whether it's true or not, was going on like that, it would have been addressed. Why? We have seen Dabo Sweeney kick off 5-star talent off the team for being douchebags. And I can name a few right now, but to save them, because people change, I don't know where they're at in life right now, but so I won't do that. But I've seen that happen. So he has done so much for us, and that's why we have the talent. We're stacked at running back. The majority of our offensive line is coming back. Of course, the great he was there this entire time. I always call him Carmen Jackson. I always get it mixed up. And the entire time, he's gone. But he had an amazing career. But the offense is looking great. I think what's interesting is if you talk to anybody who knows college football, they're not worried about the transition between DJ and Trevor. If you go back to that Notre Dame game, which DJ will get the loss because he was the starting quarterback there, DJ didn't lose that game. DJ did not lose that game. He threw for 426, broke the record for the most yards ever thrown against Notre Dame in the history of Notre Dame. Name out a who's ever played NFL football has played against Notre Dame. In his second start, he threw for more yards. That would include Tom Brady, Drew Brees. You keep going. So nobody is worried about DJ. I know that there was a few passes that was kind of errant in the spring game. It is a glorified practice. I'm not worried about that whatsoever. But on the offensive side of the ball, I'm not worried whatsoever. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about leadership. If you know anybody, I know a few people, and I won't give away their identity. And I know people says that and stuff, but I won't give away their identity. But I know people who are on the inside who has told me that DJ, not only DJ, but his family are just good people. They are good, downright, solid people. They love Clemson. And when I say they love Clemson, they treat people well. They love to be at Clemson. They love the people of Clemson. It's more than, oh, I love the team that gives my kids a free ride to college. It's, no, I love the people. I treat everybody around me with respect behind closed doors. That's a big deal too, behind closed doors. Because you and I mean, you've been in the business for so long. All that has to happen is a camera turns on and, all of a sudden I'm this great person. When in reality, you're a piece of scum. This guy is a really good guy. He's a really, really good guy, comes from good people. Nobody who has a football acumen is worried about DJ. In fact, I take solace that DJ is our quarterback, and I beg to God he doesn't get hurt. But he's just got that thing going on with him. The worries that I have comes with two things. On the defensive side of the ball, though, we return a lot of starters. We do return a lot of starters. We did lose a few guys in the offseason to transfer. Mike Jones Jr., he transferred out to LSU. Don't know why the heck he did that, but, if he feels like Aaron Orchard's got it going on, I mean, I guess he does. But
pretty good.
Niles Pinckney's transferring out. We've got a lot of talent coming back. Justin Foster retired, unfortunately, because of some health issues. Justin Foster, I mean, this guy, if he'd have stayed healthy, he'd have played on Sundays. I know Xavier Thomas, after his first season, even before the whole thing that went on, notice I don't even like to say the things that went on last year. I just kind of glass over it. He was having health issues even before then. So if we can get Xavier Thomas back, I would like to see it for him personally. It's just not a thing of Clemson, and I want Clemson to be good because we've got an amazing defensive line. I mean, it's just ridiculous. We have guys who's either transferred out or graduated or retired, and we're still loaded at defensive line. I want to see this for him personally. When you see a guy come out in the first year like Xavier Thomas did, and he absolutely beat the crap out of everybody, and he looked like Superman, and then you see the decline, whether it was mentally, physically, a combination of both. There's a part of you that, and I'm a dad. I mean, I have two kids, and their names are not Bobby Durkins Jr. and Bobby Durkins Jr. But I look at them as if it was them, man, I would be sitting there like grieving almost at a point. You're an amazing athlete with a lot of potential. I just hope you can come back to that because Xavier Thomas is just a freak of nature. I think one of the best defensive linemen, one of the best athletes ever walked through the doors of Clemson, so I hope he gets together. But everybody knows about the window dressing and everything else that we have, the Brissett, the Miles Murphy. You just keep naming down. It's like a 12 disciples of of defensive line, and they dress up in orange and white and they play for us. Skalski coming back. A lot of people give Skalski a bad name. Oh, he got thrown out of this game. He got thrown out of that.
This is the guy I was going to hit on as you were going through the defense. I thought if Brian doesn't bring up James Skalski, because he has become, at least based on the feedback that comes back to me, almost the most hated guy in college football.
Okay, so I don't know the guy personally. I don't know him personally. For all I know, he's, awful guy. But I've heard from a lot of different sources. The guy's just a good guy. He's an old school football player playing new school ball. And I think that if anybody paid attention after the Ohio State game, he actually went and checked on Justin Fields and said, no, man, I was not trying to. And here's the other thing, and I've ranted and raved about this one. You might have to cut me off on this one. But the rules are the rules. I do believe in the rules. I'm a rules guy. I believe in the rules. A lot of people don't know this. I actually officiated basketball for 11 years as a high school official. And this has been a while back. I was actually scouted to officiate college basketball. A lot of people don't know that about me. And I just stopped because I didn't want to be on the road all the time. I actually like knowing my wife and my children. It's kind of a thing. But I believe in the rules. And I believe that the rules protect players. It protects the integrity of the game. The problem that I have is not really with the rules. It's that we have the ability to slow down frame by frame every move that goes on in college football, NFL, parakeet league, lacrosse. Anything. My God, we have politicians who will dice up comments made by other politicians and play it and just run that same line over and over and out of context. We get into a heap of trouble with that. And a lot of people are gullible. So for me, whether you're an Ohio State player, you're an Alabama player, Clemson, fill in the blanks. I would say Michigan, but they suck. If you put them in, if you slow down everything to what I like to call the speed of smell, and that goes back to one of my favorite comedians, God rest his soul, Tim Wilson, the speed of smell. If you slow it down, you and I could stop right now and go, I tell you what I'd do right now. I can't believe that. If you speed it up real time, majority of us would make a hit like that. The majority of the time we're celebrating because, so-and-so got kicked out of the game until it happens to your player. But if you speed it up, the majority of the time, it's a bang-bang play. It's no big deal. Skalski, and you know what? Here's the thing. I hope Skalski never sees this. Hope his family doesn't see this. I'm not picking on him. I'm no male model here. Skalski looks like a weird guy. He is a different-looking guy. Kind of got the whole, I don't know what's going on with his eyebrows. God help him.
Got the neck roll?
Yeah, he's got the neck roll going on. So he looks like your textbook bad guy. But I don't believe that the guy is a headhunter. And I don't believe that Sweeney would put up with it either. Because I don't hang on, even though I love Sweeney, I believe in Sweeney. I believe he's a good man. I believe that he and I share a lot of the same values. Just like my dad. I love my dad. But me and my dad have disagreements. I disagree with stuff and he disagrees with me. Of course, I hold my dad in higher likes than Sweeney because Sweeney's a coach of a football team and I don't know him. But I'm just giving an example there is you can respect someone, hold them in a sense of you respect their integrity and still disagree with them at certain times. And I'll get onto that a little bit here in just a second because I know I'm going to further piss off some more Clemson fans with a few things I'll say about it. But I don't think he would put up with that if he felt like someone was headhunting out there.
Yeah, so Dabo, you touched on him a few minutes ago, and I think that you always want to think, so something you just said, just came out of your mouth, leads me into all sorts of discussions that I get into that I don't want to on Twitter, to where, and they usually cross the line into the political realm and the social realm, where I basically state, okay, the social justice warriors are out there condemning everyone left and right. I will vouch for somebody in terms of their public persona. I will say, you don't have anything on this particular person. I'm not going to vouch for them personally. I don't know them. They could be a fill in the blank, racist, or whatever you want to accuse them of. And I can't vouch for them personally. I don't know their heart. But based on what we see in the public forum, I will defend them. Now, if something comes out tomorrow, I'm not going to say, well, they're my personal friend, I vouched for them. I'm not going to feel guilty that I defended them. But based on what we've seen publicly, I defend them. And I'll put Dabo Swinney in that place as well, in that as a football coach in the public forum, the public arena, do I agree with everything that comes out of his mouth? No, I went off on him one time after he whined and complained after the South Carolina game about being disrespected. And I thought it was ridiculous, but I thought it was harmless. And I think the guy's a tremendous guy. I think he's a credit to college football. I just think he's a tremendous leader of young men. I think he's sincere in all those things. And I believe that he has always done the right thing for the sake of doing the right thing. So let's understand that we all, if we do the right thing, there are certain motivations. Some of us just do the right thing because we don't want to get caught doing the wrong thing, or the rules would hold us accountable, and we lead our lives a certain way and abide by the rules. But I truly believe that he's gotten to a place where he can say and do whatever he wants. He's got enough equity in the program. And when you made a comment about him kicking a douchebag off the program because even if he's a 5-star, well, when he was 2 years into this, was he doing the right thing because it was the right thing to do? Well, yeah. Now he's got the equity to do whatever he wants. And that program doesn't need any one individual. I turned on Paul Feinbaum today, which I rarely do. I know I made a mistake.
What were you thinking?
You know what I was thinking, to be completely honest with you? I was just having the conversation with somebody else last night and made the statement that they very kindly made a comment about how much I know about college football. And I said, you know what? Because I'm building this out as a business, I am heaped in equipment and marketing and all this other stuff I'm trying to do that has nothing to do with keeping up with college football, that I feel like every night when I get on here that I'm the preacher that didn't read the Bible all week or pray or do anything to prepare. Just, you got to preach on Sunday, but I didn't read the Bible all week. That because I'm trying to build this out as a business, I am building it out. That's what I'm doing. So it kind of hit me today. I should at least have something on in the background that will absorb this brain to keep up with what might be going on out there. So I turn on Feinbaum. I don't know what caused this response, but somebody was on the line with Paul Feinbaum, typically talking about the SEC, but they were talking about Dabo and what a whiner and complainer he is. And I thought, did he just say something? Did he say something else? I got to find out. So I don't believe so. I just think that they were in general complaining about Dabo Swinney being, and Feinbaum jumped right on that statement, not to defend Dabo, but to confirm it. Yeah, he's always whining about something.
Oh my God. Right now, have you ever had one of those moments where you have 50 things to say, but you have one mouth to say it with? That's me, right?
I would think that you constantly have those moments. I would think that would be your life existence. Okay,
that is my life existence, and that's why a lot of times, this is me being real here. This is not me putting on for us doing this right now. There's times that people will catch me in serious things, and all of a sudden I'll just start kind of in between mumbling. They think, oh, he doesn't have the words to say. No, I'm choosing wisely, man. I'm choosing wisely because I don't want to have to apologize, especially in a moment when I know someone's in error. I mean, Feinbaum, it takes one to know one. I mean, there's no, God help me. I'll leave that alone. You know what? I try to be one of those people, whether people believe it or not. I try to step on the outside and look inside what other people. If I was on the outside looking in, I could see how people could definitely get irritated with Swinney. Definitely. I also think that Swinney has come from a place to where he has always been the underdog. He's always been the underdog. Guys, was Alabama. And I want to say something that's going to get me in trouble, and you just forgive me. And if you end up having to cut this part out, cut it out, and never have me on again. So I'll choose my words wisely. Don't worry, you won't have to delete your channel. They'll probably just delete mine.
We're live.
Yeah. So we were talking about Mike Jones Jr. Mike Jones Jr. seems like a fine young man. Don't know everything about him, but his dad was in the NFL. He played football at IMG. If anybody knows anything about IMG, you know that is the it of high school football.
Sure.
You don't go to IMG like you would your regular little football school. Okay, so this guy's been privileged for a very, very, very long time. So I'll leave certain titles and certain names in certain instances. But there was about a time, roughly June of last year, there was a lot of activities going on college campuses about certain situations that was going on at that time. And Mike Jones Jr. took the liberty to try to teach all these football coaches what it is like to have a tough life because of certain circumstances. Forgetting that Dabo Swinney grew up in a home where his dad was an alcoholic. Forgetting that his mom and dad had split. Forgetting that, this is pissing me off, God help me. Forgetting that his mom was in such a bad place she had to sleep on the floor in his dorm room. Dabo has been an underdog the majority of his life. He was a walk-on at Bama. And I think that we're having to see a growth from Swinney being an underdog to being a top dog. So even me this year, I was like, okay, if he cranks up the Roy bus again, somebody's going to have to get in that man's ear and go, no. You got Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. You got ETN back out of nowhere. You can't do that anymore. And I think he's having to grow into that. Also, a part of that is he just loves his team. He's competitive. He likes to talk a little trash. And I think any of us men, when we're playing ball and you're not, you're not effeminate, you're going to talk trash. I'm going to talk trash. You'll talk trash. We could be the best of buddies. And we're going to talk trash. Why? That's part of the game. But I think that's the thing that has driven him. And now he's at a place to where Swinney's elite. It is cemented. If everything went downhill tomorrow, barring him doing something illegal, something horrible, like pedophilia or fathering multiple, children outside of his marriage, Swinney's the man. And we know it. And that's one of the reasons people hate him. Do you think there's guys out there who's mouthy and they coach no-name football teams? Nobody cares about them. Why? They're no-name football teams and they amount to nothing when it comes to football. This guy, he's top 3, top 4, been in the college football playoff year after year after year after year after year. He took over a dumpster fire. He took over a school. Here it goes, Clemson fans about take me again. I don't care. It's the truth. He took over a dumpster fire of a school that thought it was a football school, but its football history was not that good until you went back to the 80s. I mean, my God. Eddie Van Halen still had David Lee Roth as the lead singer when we were still good last. I mean, when you break it all down, it goes back to what I said just a little bit ago. Dabo Swinney is the most successful coach in Clemson football and Clemson sports history. He's also one of the most successful coaches in recent college football history. I think if he continues and everything's all right, and we don't see the whole thing blow up, this guy's going to go out as a legend. He's going to do it the right way. Yeah, I could see where he irritates people. Where sometimes I'm sitting there like, okay, man, love you to death. Please quit. Please quit. But I saw him kind of tone that down this year. It wasn't near as bad, but the year before last, I remember your rant, and I get it.
Brian Knight on the line, talking up Clemson football with us live. So leave your comments or questions. I will wrap up a whole bunch of questions that SEC Dog has left because he's a big Georgia fan, and he has hit on this matchup from a number of angles throughout his comments and questions. So I'll wrap it all up just to say, what do you think of this matchup?
Oh my God. Well, first of all, anybody who owns a map you need to pull up Clemson, South Carolina, and you need to I don't even like to say Google because I'm not a Google fan, but Google Maps it, Waze it to Athens, Georgia. These two schools are the two most prominent in college football teams to each other. I'm not talking about Georgia Tech to Georgia. I know I think they're a little closer. But the thing is I'm talking about consistently competing in the top 10. Georgia, Clemson should always be playing. Now I know that they've worked on a deal and they're going to be playing more here in the future. It is sad that two teams, even if they sucked but has not been playing. I'm still upset that Clemson and South Carolina didn't play this past year, and I don't care the reason. I don't care the explanation. I don't need somebody to draw it on a board for me like I'm 5 years old. There was no good reason why Clemson and South Carolina didn't play this past year. There's no good reason. I'm about to go rant on something else. There's no good reason. There's really no good reason for Clemson and Georgia not to be playing. I'm glad they're going to be playing in Charlotte. I didn't see all the questions here. For everybody who doesn't know this, y'all can see the comment section right now. I can't see the comment section, so I'm just going to throw this out there. Big concern for us on the defense. Our secondary's got to get better. I know Andrew Booth. He's a highlight reel. He was a #1 recruit a couple of recruiting cycles ago. Guy's doing exactly what we hoped he would do. He's ridiculous, very, very talented. Darion Kendrick, he left the team. Then he got in some trouble. See what I said just a second ago? There was some issues. He's no longer on the team, and then boom, he gets arrested. I hope the best for him. I never want to see anybody do poorly because much more than football, there's people's lives, people's souls, and I believe in that. But go ahead. I can see it.
And based on what I saw, Brian, and heard back from Darion Kendrick, he even admitted after all that incident and then getting in trouble after leaving Clemson that, my stay at Clemson had nothing to do with it. Nobody did anything wrong there. It was all on me, all my fault.
And if you talk to anybody in the Clemson community, and I'm not talking about him personally, there was nothing wrong with him playing football. This guy is ridiculous. And there was times that he faced disciplinary measures, and Sweeney's having to keep somebody who he knows is one of his best defensive players off the field and possibly lose. Okay. So it goes back to Sweeney's character. But anyway, our secondary's got to pull their crap together. We have the talent back there. We have the experience. Excuse me. We have to pull it together. Other thing that I've been ranting and raving about for 2 seasons now, and you've heard me talk about this. You're like, oh God, Brian's going there again. Yeah, I'm going there again until the problem goes away. There is a lack of intensity on Clemson's football team. I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know if they're taking inner confidence, if that's even a word, between the players, and they're looking at each other going, hey, man, we've got this. We know we can overpower this team. This guy's a 5-star. He's a 5-star. He's a 4-star. He's a 3-star, but he plays better than the 5 stars. You've got all that going on. We're going to win this game. And then you get into the playoff mode. And you're playing at Ohio State. Ohio State made it very, very clear. And I know they've done it on your show. They've done it on my board. I mean, I could screenshot it and send it to you. Our #1 goal was beating Clemson. That was it. They don't even care to talk about the 4-touchdown loss in the national championship game. We beat Clemson. We beat them. That lets you know that you've got there. But what that also lets you know is that even though the ACC, and part of it's because the ACC is just, it just is what it is. Last year, I feel like we saw better ball. We could see some growth this year with some of the teams and some of the progressions that we've seen, hopefully, over the past few years. But Clemson knows they can go through the motions and beat the crap out of basically anybody. When they went up to Notre Dame, not taking a shot at Notre Dame, but here's just the truth. Notre Dame found out in that game in Charlotte, they did not play a healthy Clemson team that night in November on NBC. They didn't. And our quarterback still smoked you. And he wasn't even the starting quarterback. So my point in all of that is they are comfortable in knowing, man, we can just run through our motions. We're fine. it has killed us in 2 playoffs in a row. And my big concern for Clemson right now, we cannot turn into Oklahoma. We cannot turn into, no offense to you, Ohio State until this past year and that one national championship back in 2013 has not done so well. But Oklahoma has really, really laid a golden turd in the college football playoff. And that begins to hurt your recruiting. That begins to hurt your validity among the college football world. No matter how much you want to sit there and spew out last year doesn't matter, that was last year, this is this year, and you go, well, hold on, your stats are like last year. You got a lot of the same players last year, playing a lot of the same teams, look a lot the same, and then you go in and you get your bloomers pulled down, you get your butt smacked in front of God and everybody, and then the next year you don't expect us to be that way. There isn't a lack of intensity with Clemson, and I question at times, is it because they're having to transform from this we're the underdogs and the Roy bus to now we're truly elite? And until we get that, Clemson fans can tell me all they want to, and I'm a big Clemson fan. I've pulled for them through the most horrendous. I feel like I'm owed what I'm getting right now because it's been horrendous for so many years. But if Clemson does not address this lack of intensity and lack of fight, they'll make it back to the college football playoff this year. And they will get punched in the unmentionables again this coming year. With all that talent, if they don't get intensity, if you find a great example, and I can use this as kind of like not even a parable, but just a good example. Hunter Renfrow was a walk-on at Clemson. But he fought, and it wasn't because he worked hard. It was because he produced on the field. I'm not saying working hard did not equal producing on the field. I'm saying you and I would go out, if you tried out for Ohio State, I tried out for Clemson State, you and I could work as hard as we want to. Guess what? We would not have the talent. We wouldn't. I mean, I feel quite confident in saying that about myself and you.
Absolutely.
No matter how hard we work. So working hard in this context means absolutely nothing. And I'm going to stop here and say this. There are some players right now, and I love Sweeney, but one of his faults is loyalty. There are some players who are on the team and who will remain nameless, who are receiving snaps during the season, and it's taken away snaps from players who were highly rated coming in. They have the potential to be amazing. And because they are working hard and they're good kids, he's taking away snaps from top talent. That's fantastic integrity. But Hunter Renfrow proved it on the field. A lot of these players who are getting snaps are not proving it on the field. So the Hunter Renfrow example with them is void. He produced, they're not. Put the right people on the field. And I think that's an issue that it's whisperings among the Clemson community. But if you say it out loud, you're a bad guy. I mean, it's like Judas to Jesus. You don't do it. But until it bites you in the butt. And then everybody out of that playoff weekend, or, the coach should have done this. Yeah, you were telling me to shut up about that back in, April 22nd, 2021. And now it's January the 7th, 2022. I don't have to be a psychic or God to be able to see the future. I can look at the clouds. I can see that's about to rain. In fact, I see a swirl start going on. I think there's a tornado coming. Clemson has got to get back in that fire, that desire, that want. And they're going to have to start playing players consistently who deserve to be on the field. Because I believe that has a correlation with a reason why we've lost some recruits. And I know Demarcus Bowman was one of the top running back recruits that we had received since CJ Spiller. And I know everybody will say, well, obviously he didn't know that the young man's grandfather or grandmother passed away. I'm not going to say that's not it, but when a guy is sitting there watching a cat take snaps in front of him just because everybody likes him and he's a hard worker, yeah, I'm transferring out too. And you can think bad of me, I don't care. And that is an issue at Clemson right now. It has got to stop. And as I said earlier, I love what I know of Sweeney. Sweeney's a good guy. Sweeney has so many good attributes. Sometimes your attributes can go a little too far, and he's putting guys on the field because they're working hard. And it's just like, dude, there is guys who are 5-star athletes who could go out there on pain pills and play better than that guy who's working hard. And I get the life lesson and everything, and I believe in ethics, I believe in processes, I believe in honor, I believe in all those things. I also believe in it's kind of like when he replaced Kelly Bryant with Trevor Lawrence. A lot of people, there was certain people in the Clemson community, I can't believe he did that. Hold on, so you want him to hold the interest of one guy over the rest of the team? No, it doesn't work that way. So that's just one thing that I just want to see. But to go back to the Georgia game, I'm glad we're playing. If we can stay healthy and we can fix the intensity problem, I think we definitely win the game. I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a game that both fan bases will be sitting there going, finally, we're playing. So I'm very, very happy about that.
Yeah, it's certainly a calculated risk, a high calculated risk that he made in benching Kelly Bryant in favor of Trevor Lawrence, because was Kelly Bryant doing anything wrong? No. Was he getting the job done? Yes. Was Clemson going to win the ACC and get to a college football playoff? I'm about certain, yes. But Dabo Sweeney determined what's best for the team. What's our goal? To win a national championship. Therefore, I need to make the move. Sure, it could backfire on me, and this Trevor Lawrence, for as great as he is, could not be quite ready, and people might be criticizing me to say, why didn't you stick with your starter? Because he wasn't doing anything wrong. But he made the right move based on his just sheer evaluation of who's the better player and who's going to take us where we need to go. I'm guessing that some of the players on your mind, if we looked up a roster, would have the letters DB next to their names.
I want the friend who talked me off the ledge right before I got on here. In fact, I'm looking at my phone to make sure he hasn't texted me right now. I said I was even going to name names, but he backed me. He backed me. He backed me off of it. I'll leave names out of it, but sure. there is. I always try to remember that some of these guys, they're someone's kid.
Yep.
And that's hard doing sometimes what we do, especially me and Bobby. I almost come to a point that when I'm Bobby, it's not that I give myself a pass. It's just anybody with half a brain knows he's an idiot. And they know he's an act. I mean, you watch for a little bit, but when I'm on here, I just have some concerns that there are players on both sides of the ball who will play at times, and you're sitting there going, why? Why? Because I'm looking at the roster. I'm seeing the guy who's behind him. I know the guy behind him is better than him. And I haven't even spent one day at practice. Well, that's your problem. You hadn't been at practice. And once again, I could just go on and on about this. I think that's the issue at Clemson, and I think that's why we've lost some recruits, and I think that's why a few guys have transferred out, because they read the writing on the wall. And at the end of the day, there's a business part of it. I tell people all the time, though I'm not a fan of guys to a point sitting out bowl games. If they're going to sit out a bowl game because they're potentially going to go to the NFL and make millions of dollars, I own a calculator. I know how much $1 million, how much it would take me at my current salary rate to earn $1 million. And it would be a while, and they would do it in a year. They would do it some of these guys, $20, $30 million in a year. So I'm not going to be one of these fans that looks like they've grabbed up a handful of meth and went at it and argue about some kid wanting to sit out, and they get all teary-eyed over their alma mater, their team they've pulled for so many years. They can't believe it. It's a business, and you have to keep the best players on the field. And Matthew says, he says, ignorant. I won't say ignorant. I think that he's a victim sometimes of his loyalty. And that's a good thing to a point. And some people would say Kelly Bryant versus Trevor Lawrence. Where was your loyalty? Look at Trevor Lawrence. Look at him throw the ball. Go watch Kelly Bryant play against Alabama in the first round of the playoff. He couldn't throw the ball, man. And that was an easy replacement. Fantastic athlete, was not a quarterback. Should have switched positions. Even if he went to another team, should have switched positions. Kelly Bryant's a fantastic athlete. That's a big son of a gun too. And so it's I just don't know. Every now and again this happens. He started Cole Stout. Oh, and Cole Stout was not a bad quarterback. It was just during the Chad Morris era and everything. But you're starting him over Deshaun Watson. I thought we learned this lesson before. So, I'm just saying that's how I look at it. That's how I look at it. And I have a lot of Clemson fans who tells me I'm wrong. That's fine. That's your opinion. I just think we see the downswag of, if that's even a term, the downturn of Clemson going into this. Oh, man, they're a top 5 team, but they're not playing elite all the time. You have to play elite all the time. Alabama still is the benchmark of college football, and it makes me throw up a little bit to say that. Those guys have very little depth. And however, that golden small man, whatever he does, no matter how many coaches he spins through, they go through very little depth. They go through very little lull. And if I'm Sweeney at this point, I'm stepping back going, there's only one guy in front of me. There's only one who is consistently in like me. What can I, in a dark room, kind of sitting, wait, nobody knows it. What can I learn from him? Because Clemson is falling into what I like to call a lull. And it just bothers me because, other than that Georgia game, you look across our schedule, we should blister everybody on that schedule. If Clemson comes in and plays Clemson football, we beat Georgia by 2 touchdowns. End of story. We beat Georgia by 2 touchdowns.
You're 2 touchdowns better than Georgia.
If we play ball. If we come in there and we're half rearing it around and acting like, we can come in there and play against them like we do against Wake Forest, we'll lose by 2 touchdowns. Clemson comes in there fired up. We beat them by 2 touchdowns. And I know that. But the problem is, the reason why even Georgia fans will go, he just went into Durkins there, is because of the past 2 years. It's because they've seen us go into the big games in the playoff, and we've got punched in the crotch. And the reason why is because we had all these great players. Something has got to happen there. And I think Sweeney needs to look to Saban and go, what has that man done? Because that's the next move. There's no other next move other than down. But I believe in our coaching staff. I believe in our defensive coordinator. I believe in the values that they've instilled in the team. We have a lot of starters coming back. We have a lot of experience. DJ is the man. I don't worry about – I've heard guys before say that, and you can tell they're trying to make themselves believe it. I'm not trying to believe it. I really believe it. I believe in DJ. I believe that cat right there, man, he can throw a pass. There was one pass he threw last year. God, I'm trying to remember what game it was. I don't know if it was against Notre Dame or whether it was against Boston College, but he threw a pass. It was a post on 3rd down and like 14. And they were in the valley, so that had to be Boston College. So they were driving from the hill towards the west end zone. Anybody who's been to Clemson knows. If you're watching it on TV, it's from your right to left. So it's 3rd down, like 14. DJ throws a strike and a half on a post route to Amari Rogers. Amari catches it between two safeties, and they drop him. They dropped him. Amari hops up, and you can tell that he is like, it's almost like somebody's electrocuted. And when he hops up to point first down, there was something about it that you could tell. And I'm assuming here, but I've just watched all of them play so much. It was beyond, I just made the catch and we got the first down. It was like, holy crap, he made that throw. I mean, there's only one other guy who can make that throw. And he's on our sideline. And he's out right now because of protocol. And it's that moment that you know that. So DJ, I believe in. Our running backs, I believe in. I think our offensive line is going to surprise some people. I could be totally wrong. Won't be the first time. Ask my wife. But I believe that they're going to do well. Our wide receivers, fantastic. Justin Ross is coming back. Praise God. SEC dog, I did not say that we are 2 touchdowns better than you. I said if we came in and played our game, we would beat you by 2 touchdowns. I did not guarantee it. I love SEC dog. We like to trash
But you
talk.
are saying that if you play to the A+ standard, full throttle, and Georgia does as well, you win the game by 2 touchdowns.
Yep, I believe it. Because I watched Georgia a lot.
I think
Georgia,
this is a toss-up.
Georgia finds a way to beat a team that they don't supposed to, and then turn around and lose a game they don't supposed to. Georgia is the biggest head scratcher in college football to me. They really are. Talented. You go down to Athens, Georgia, it's beautiful. I love the state of Georgia. I grew up very close to the state of Georgia. I was in Atlanta this past weekend. I didn't get shot or killed or, pillaged, but it was a great place. Except for those places you get shot, killed, or pillaged. Georgia is a beautiful state. I love the state of Georgia. Have a lot of good memories there. You go to Athens, Georgia, got a lot of good memories there. A lot of good things going on there. Georgia's had a who's who play football for them. I can say all of this and Georgia fans don't hear. They're like, he's leading. No, I am literally telling you, there is no reason on God's green earth why you have not won a national championship in 40 years. There is no reason why in 40 years, Tom Brady with a cane switched teams to a sucky team and won a Super Bowl in year 1. His wife is even old that everybody talks about. And y'all have had talent after talent after talent. Can't win a national championship in 40 years. It does not make sense. Georgia's always been talented. Georgia's always been talented. It's like it's like back in the 90s when Baywatch was on. Did you see that good-looking girl on Baywatch? Which one? That's the thing with Georgia. Did you see that running back? Which one? Did you see that great linebacker? Which one? They're always been talented. The problem with Georgia is they have not capitalized. They have not capitalized. I'm not guaranteeing a win here. I am skeptical of Clemson right now, not because of talent. It's because of what I laid out just a second ago. Will we pull it together on the defensive side of the ball, and will we actually give a rat's rear? Will we actually come out excited to play football? Hey, boys, you're going to school for free to play football, and the majority of you will go on to the NFL and make more money than everybody times 10 put together. And that's one of you. You're okay. You're worshipped. You're fine. Get excited. If you're not excited about playing football, let's trade places. I don't have a bad life, but I have to work for my money. How about you come work my job and see how you like it? Oh, boy, you'd run out there and you'd win a Heisman Trophy and be an offensive lineman. I'm just saying, these guys have got to get more passionate. I don't see it. Only good thing, and I'll reference what I said earlier about the spring game was the white team. Their defense, man, they were jacked up, and they won the game. So I'm just saying, we've got to see more from Clemson. I'm not guaranteeing a win. I'm saying we play our A+ game, we beat Georgia. Because Kirby finds a way to lose it.
Okay. I'm not going to debate that. I think 2 touchdowns is a bit heavy. I think it's a toss-up.
I think that with everything considered equal, our lack of desire and their Georgianess, if that is a thing, and if any Georgia fans gets offended by that, just pull up the past 40 years of football. You'll see it. It's the same thing that you were pissing and moaning about when Rick was there and he blew it. And then it's the same thing you've been pissing and moaning about since Kirby got you to the national championship game, and you lost it on one of the most historic plays in college football. You did. That's nothing to hold your head down about. But I'm not going to spend my time trying to make you feel good about mediocrity. We might play in a pee-wee high school football league, but at least when it came time to play the big boys, we won the national championship twice. The last time you did it, Farrah Fawcett was probably still a supermodel at that time. That woman's been gone, God rest her soul, for many years. Burt Reynolds and his sideburns was still in style. Ronald Reagan wasn't, I don't even think, in office at that time. And that guy's been fertilizer for years. That's how long he's been dead. My point is, Georgia finds a way to lose. They do. No matter how good the school is, no matter how good the talent is, no matter how great Athens, Georgia is, no matter how many country music stars they got pulling for them, you could put anything short of Jesus Christ at quarterback for them, and I swear they'd blow it. Some way, somehow, they would blow it. And they have been pissing and moaning since Kirby. They think they're going to go to the national championship every year. They do. And they could say that about me. Here's the only thing about this. Clemson's been, and they've had 2 in the past, 5 years? I'll take that any time. I'll take 1 a decade. Praise God. Y'all haven't won in 40 flipping years. 40 flipping years. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying about Georgia. I give mad respect to you, but it always comes back to you haven't won in 40 years.
That's the truth. The part of me that loves to debate college football would sit here for the next 45 minutes and put that in certain context, but that's the bottom line fact. National championships, Georgia, 1980. Clemson, 1981. 2016, 2018.
Yeah. And I tell you this, anybody who is a true college football fan, especially in both camps, I'll speak for Clemson's, has a lot of respect for Georgia. And it's fun to trash talk, but that is statistically correct. I mean, I didn't pull that out. I didn't reach up in between my hemorrhoids and pull that out. I mean, that's your last national championship. And they've had so much time. I cannot believe that Georgia has not had a national championship then. I mean, my God, what? Miami was great. They fell. They come back. They went back down, and they're trying to come back up in that time. Multiple schools have done that. Southern Cal has done it. Tennessee, Texas has done it. My God, Nebraska never really came back after early 2000s, but I mean, they had 40 years of incredible football, to where you only had 1 or 2 less than 10 win seasons in 40 years. Georgia has talent upon talent. It does not make sense what goes on with them.
You can really stick it to a Georgia fan by reminding them that Georgia Tech has won a national championship since the last time they won a national championship. Georgia Tech.
Oh, yeah.
1990.
Yeah, Georgia Tech, and I think their academic, their major options is engineer, or engineer. Assistant engineer. And I mean, that's like their options. That's their options. But I look forward to it. I'm very happy to see Georgia and Clemson to get together. I know I've said that like 9 times now. I'm very happy for that. We need this game. It should be going on all the time. We shouldn't have to have a special contract for this. This is stupid. It's dumb. It's ridiculous. I don't know whose fault it is, was, whatever. But I don't care if it's on our side, if it was on their side, if it was conference side, whoever those people are needs to be taken out back, threatened within an inch of their life. Clemson and Georgia should always be playing, period.
And one of the reasons we're here discussing and debating and analyzing college football is we don't let any inaccurate information go out. So talk is Pitt. We will make a correction to your statement down below. Pitt is not the last ACC team to defeat Clemson. Of course, Notre Dame did last year. That was only a one-time thing. So we can even excuse Notre Dame and displace them with Syracuse in 2017 was the last ACC team to defeat Clemson.
Yeah, that was on a Friday night. Kelly Bryant was the quarterback. That was the season in between Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence. Kelly got knocked out, so that was a bad night. But yeah, I remember that game very well, and I remember the Pitt loss. But yeah, Syracuse was the last ACC team, real ACC team, to beat us, because we noticed how Notre Dame was just dying to get out of the conference once it was all said and done with.
Yeah, we got a full dose of real Clemson football against Notre Dame in the ACC championship game with, and that in a sense showed how good DJ is, because Uiagalelei put up the 40-some points and the 439 yards passing, and Trevor pretty much just matched him, not statistically, but in terms of offensive production. But the big difference was, he had those three defensive players back. Well, their 40-some points in overtime became a 3 points sometime in the third quarter, and the last touchdown didn't even matter. So you basically held them out of the end zone during meaningful football time.
Yeah. I mean, it was fun to have Notre Dame in the league. I think it was good for the conference. I'm not really a conference guy. I've been saying that since day one that I started talking about Clemson football as Bobby Durkins. I'm not. It's like if Duke wins the national championship in basketball, I could care less. I'm not a conference guy. I do see the question here, Wholesome Holloway. Hey, buddy, it's good to see you. Can you speak on what you believe Miami is doing well to get back in the conversation of a good, great program? Okay, so I'm not a Miami aficionado like yourself. But I will say this: is that improvement is evident within your record. This stuff I'm about to say is like duh stuff, but it's really the ABCs of football. It's really the ABCs of anything when you're dealing with improvement. Miami came out and played better ball this year. I mean, let's just put it where it's at. They played better ball. They were more consistent. I know that when they came to Clemson, it was a big ball game. Clemson did what they did, and hey, it was good for us. But the thing that I think that I can't say is doing well, hopefully they can do well, if you'll take that one, it is just consistency. One of the things that you have to do, and it's one of the things that Sweeney did, turn Clemson around, was consistency. I said this about Tommy Bowden when he was there. Tommy Bowden in 2005 went down and played Coral Gables, Miami, in Coral Gables, Miami. Y'all were like number 4, number 5, might even been number 3. Clemson beat them. It was huge. Very next week, guess what happened? They lost to Duke in Durham. And that was the story of Tommy Bowden football. No offense to Tommy. I don't know him personally. He seems like a really good guy, but we're just talking football here. It is very hard to pitch to a recruit. We are your style of player away from solidifying a big win when you're beating a top 5 team one week at their house and then going to a school that focuses on law and medicine, and then they suck at everything else in basketball, and lose. You can't pitch that to a recruit. You might be able to do that if they have always pulled for your school and they've always dreamed of playing for you. But if you're going to anywhere outside of your state, the majority of the time, especially if they have big dogs knocking out the door, they're not going to sign with your school. And that happened to Clemson a lot. We lost a lot of in-state talent. so the thing that I think that Miami can hope to see is that they would be consistent, because you can sell that to recruits. You can sell that to fans. You can get a buzz in the stadium where people's dying to see Miami. Oh, Miami's going to play Clemson this week. Miami's going to play Ohio State this week. They're going to play Alabama. Whatever big matchup that's coming up, man, people will fill that stadium. And I think that one of the worst things that happened to Miami football was that one year when Rick was there, where, man, y'all looked amazing. And Notre Dame come to town, and I remember the cameras actually got a shot up into the box that you saw. Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez, God rest their souls, they're no longer together. Send a sympathy to the family. They were up there. I mean, it was just like Miami was buzzing. And then what happened? Everything fell apart. The wheels came off. Rick leaves. Now you got this. There has to be consistency, because Clemson, though a lot of people looks at Clemson and talks about, what a great school, whether you love them or hate them. Clemson didn't turn the corner until they became consistent. And so I think one of the worst things that could have happened to Miami last year was getting blown out by Clemson. That's not trash talk. That's just fully analyzing the football, analyzing Miami. But coming out and winning more and having more zeal and winning a lot more games than what they did, and just getting consistent to where you see there's always a possibility of winning the game that you don't supposed to. That's how you build a team. I know you're a football coach, so you know that better than me. But just retaining those recruits and retaining the energy on the team and retaining the belief. And I think one of the bad things for Miami, and I'm going to really get stoned by Miami fans here, is, at Clemson, we had that one season in the 80s where we won the national championship, and then we had some good seasons in the 80s. And Clemson hung on to that like a leech on a willing vessel. I mean, we just hung on to it, I think one of the problems with the U, and this is just outside looking in, is the U is always trying to measure itself up with the Ed Reed seasons, when you had a once in a lifetime players. I mean, that team was one of the greatest teams to ever play football. Or the 80s. It's time to say you honor the past, but the past is the past, and we're here and we're now. And it's easier to sell that. And I hope I represent that well. I hope I explained that well. But that's the thing. It's like you're hanging on to the past. Notre Dame is suffering from this. You can talk about the Four Horsemen, and you got a 17-year-old kid out of Pennsylvania going, who's the Four Horsemen? Who's Newt Rockne? It's not because the kid's out of touch. It's because Newt Rockne was leading the team when Hitler was like 15 years old. People don't know about that. And so there's a way to honor the history. It's like there are people right now who are Clemson fans who watched me say earlier that Dabo Swinney was the most successful and did the most for Clemson football than anybody right now. They are pissed off at me because I took away from Frank Howard, because I took away from Danny Ford. Right now, they are wetting themselves that I said that. Once again, I'm not being arrogant. Statistics stand behind me. He did more than them. Now, the problem with the U is that they have this amazing history that I think that they feel like they got to live up to at times. They got to match the swagger. We got to have the chain. No, how about this? Man, we got a great historic program, and we've had some down years. Let's be us. You're in a hotbed of recruiting. Let's be Miami. And let's go win. Go play. Stop trying to imitate the years past, because they're years past. Deshaun Watson for us, and take away everything that's going on right now. He's gone. He's gone for us. And Trevor Lawrence is gone for us. We cannot imitate those guys. There's no imitating them, but we can move forward. And I think that's the thing for the U, is just be consistent and stop trying to be that thing you think you should be. Go out and win football games. Guess what? They don't care if you're dancing on the sideline. They don't care if you have a chain. They don't care if you come running out of smoke. As long as you win football games, they'll pack that stadium week in and week out, and you'll get recruits and you'll win the national championship. That's how you do it.
There it is. Brian Knight, Bobby Durkins. Take one, take either, take both. You get them here on YouTube, Bobby Durkins.
Well, Mark, thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to football season. And this is something I want to say to a lot of people that I'm trying to think of a nice way to say it. You know, when I was at the spring game, you could tell that last year really wore on the psychological nature of people. I've been to several spring games at Clemson. I've been to spring games at Clemson when the football team sucked. And there was more buzz then than what there was the other day with just as many fans. I know that we only had like 17, 18,000 fans in the stands. But it has done something to people psychologically because of everything that's went on. And as I said, I don't like to even bring it up, but it's real. And what I want to challenge everybody in college football, and I'm trying to do this as well, no matter who you pull for, no matter how great or how bad they are, go have fun. Have fun. That's what this is supposed to be like. We don't supposed to turn on our TVs and have some type of message or some type of slogan beaten to our heads, whether it's political or social. We're supposed to go and enjoy the game. We're supposed to be kind to people no matter who or what they look like or no matter what's going on. You define the world that you live in on your own being by who you are, and you treat people well, and don't let this crap that's being pushed through by mainstream media. I mean, I can't even watch college football anymore without turning on mute, you know, because I don't want to hear the stuff. I don't want to hear this because 99% of it, and I've worked in the corporate world for a very long time, corporations do nothing but focus on money. And they swim with the stream wherever that stream leads to more money. They'll say and do anything. They don't care what you look like. They don't care who you sleep with. They don't care what is going on. But unfortunately, a lot of these companies run the same groups who is televising the football games. And I want to challenge everybody, especially if you're watching the game, put it on mute. Enjoy the game. Invite your friends over. Have a good time. Eat whatever food you eat. Drink whatever you drink. If you go to the game, have a good time, because I'm telling you, it bothered me that you could tell something's wrong with people now. They're not enjoying it like they were. And college football, especially, is built on tradition. It's built on people having a good time. It's built on memories. And we shouldn't have all this stuff going on. We should just go there, have a good time, treat each other well, and make memories that we'll want to talk about 40 years from now when the stuff we're talking about now doesn't matter.
Amen. I won't add to that. I would be ill-equipped to add to it. I certainly emphasize it, underline it, and support it totally. All right, sir. Brian Knight.
Thanks for having me on. You take care.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
I'm just going to remind everyone that we're here just about every night, usually multiple times per day. And our next go-around is going to be Friday, actually at 2:30 Eastern, because Oklahoma plays its spring game on Saturday. We're going to do a live Oklahoma spring game preview with Jason Ray from Last Word on College Football Friday, 2:30 Eastern time. I'll be back here at 6 o'clock Eastern time to take your calls, as I typically am every Friday at 6. But again, 2:30 in the afternoon Eastern time, Oklahoma football talk. And then on Saturday, stay tuned. I'll roll out the schedule that's going to be based around the spring games. Texas, Oklahoma, and others are playing on Saturday. And so I will look at the TV lineup and figure out the best times to come on here live to talk spring football with all of you. Keep in mind, Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App. You can hit me up there and contribute to the channel. We appreciate that so much. Patreon's available for 16 cents per day. I'm rounding up 16 cents per day on Patreon with all that we've got available there. Please check out the website that we launched about 6 weeks ago, voiceofcollegefootball.com as well. Do your Amazon shopping using our link in the description section as well. See you all back here Friday at 2:30 for Oklahoma football and at 6 Eastern for our call-in show.